Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of No Way Jose, starring the Boston Mass, Jose Raymond. And now joining us from the great state of Massachusetts, our finest, Jose Raymond. How are you, Jose?
I'm fabulous, buddy. How you doing?
Real good, real good. Is that proper English? I don't know. So topic I want to talk about today, because we've talked about it before many times, and you've addressed it many times, but I want to get into social media and bodybuilding, how it's changed it, the good side, the bad side, because there's definitely good and bad sides to it. So let's start with what things were like, because you're 46 now and I'm 51. I know how old I am. So we grew up in a time, we got into the sport when there was no social media. It was very, very different. So for all the youngins out there, what was it like before we had YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, especially Instagram? We had none of that.
Well, I loved it back in the day because the true bodybuilding purists were rewarded. And what I mean by that is you were rewarded from your efforts in the gym as a bodybuilder. If you placed well, if you won, if you had a track record of being consistent and doing well, then you were rewarded, whether it be from supplement contracts or magazine sponsors. And you were basically rewarded for your efforts, where today, if you're really good with a computer, really good with editing, making videos, knowing when to post the videos, knowing the algorithms and blah, 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 you can make a killing. And, there was a crossover point where a lot of the really good competitors, really good bodybuilders, were getting squeezed out by social media guys. It's still happening. But there was a weird crossover where you were seeing guys with no contracts, and then guys you never heard of with contracts, because they were really good at their social media platforms. So, as you said, there's good and bad. The bad would be that a lot of the guys that I don't consider very impressive, that to me, that was the most important ththing. Someone that had to jump out at you and be like, wow, that, make me go, wow. I see a guy like, I don't even know half of the names of some of these guys, but, there were twins over in England. There's twins everywhere. There's just guys that look like they have a decent physique, kind of a beach body, but have millions of followers. And that doesn't scream wow to me. I'm not impressed with that. I didn't get into bodybuilding to see the average physique, I was always impressed by just craziness, something that was absolutely unattainable. But that 1% of humanity, that impresses me. And through the years, it has gotten to the point where, you have to up your game. If you're a bodybuilder, you have, as you've done, you had to figure out a way to create content and create something to keep muscular development alive, because there's no magazines anymore. And those magazines were incredible. They were incredibly successful. As a bodybuilder, that was your ultimate goal, was to get in those magazines and get a photo shoot with Per Bernal, and to see these photos larger than life. Like as a kid, you dreamt about it, and you finally got it, and it was amazing. And then if you were even luckier, you got a cover. And you could go food shopping and point at yourself on the counters. It's crazy. I remember being at a 7-Eleven with Flex Lewis after the New York Pro, and they had a Flex magazine, and we held it up to the lady. And by then it was like 2 days after the show. We were already like from eating, and the lady's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "That's him." She's like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, it is." But it was just exciting. The magazines, that was our version of social media. We'd do interviews, back then you would have a little thing at the end to contact Jose. Here's his PO box.
Yeah.
And I would go and get mail and read mail. It was crazy. I'm talking like late 90s, early 2000, when I don't even think I had an email address yet.
Right.
It was just physical mail in the PO box.
Yeah.
So yeah, things have come a long way, because now you can be in contact with people all day long.
Yeah.
Fans, friends, people from across the world. And it's certainly easier to market yourself today, but it's also easier for Joe Schmo to market himself. And you can lose a lot of opportunities by someone that's not in your league, physique wise or bodybuilding wise, but because of their following and their reach, you're not even considered anymore.
Yeah, I just have to go back because you just reminded me of when I used to work for Lou Zwick in American Muscle Magazine out in California in the 90s. There was no social media, and all the people would write to the show, because we had our PO box listed, Rosemead, California, and probably it came up like 4 or 5 times during the episode, and people would send us mail like, can you get this to Dorian Yates, send this to Dorian, send this to Flex Wheeler, send this to Mike Matarazzo, Paul DeMeo. And one of my jobs when I first started out there was I had to sit there and we would pay for the postage and put the whole thing in another envelope and send it off to the pro. And then they had to open that up, read it, and they had to compose a letter and say to correspond if they chose to. I don't know how many of them did that, but email, and forget email, but Instagram, anybody can get you on Instagram now. Or
right.
It's the access that the fans have to the pros now is unprecedented. I don't think they appreciate how little access the fans had back in the old days. The only way you were ever going to meet these guys, if you could get your ass to a contest, and you had to get there physically to a contest or a seminar they happen to be giving. That's the only way you were ever going to meet these people or be able to talk face to face with them in any way. The other thing was, you talked about marketing. I think it's a good thing in one way, because I always knew there were people that either didn't want to compete, but I knew there were a lot more great physiques out there that would never be seen. No one would ever know about them. They would be totally undiscovered. And today, I think that's not the case. I think anybody that's got a decent physique, either they're going to have an Instagram account or one of their buddies is going to snap some pictures and throw them up. People find out about you. So I think there's a lot more of that, but I totally agree with you. And just going back, there was a guy that had huge social media following, few million. He was with a big company, a big supplement company that was known for just having Instagram famous people. They didn't have any competitors. And he came to Bayshore Athletic Club a few years ago to do a little, I don't know, some kind of appearance. And when I walked in, people were around him and I said, that's him? That's the guy? Because I've seen pictures of him and I think he might have been injured or something, but whatever. He looked nothing like his pictures. He looked like, I want to say like about $150 soaking wet. You would walk right past him, never think this guy's any kind of big deal. But the way he was also known for photoshopping his maybe now you know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly who it is. I forget his name. I think he tore his pec at Bayshore.
Was it at Bayshore? Shit.
I think he did, doing like 75-pound presses.
I don't know if it was I think I would have heard about it if it was a Bayshore, but it did that's what happened. He was doing flat presses for the gram and
yeah.
But it's the instant credibility that social media gives people that really haven't earned it. I mean, we could cry about this all day or bitch about this all day. There's so many guys that I've seen, they've done like one show, they placed like 5th in the novice or something, or maybe they won the open. There was one in their class, there was one other guy or no one else in their class. Let's just say they haven't beat anybody. They have not proven themselves in any way on a stage, but they get this big social media following. They get YouTube channels. They sell meal plans. They're prep coaches. They're posing coaches. I see a posing coach. I said, this guy's done like one show. He didn't even win. How's he a posing coach now? He's 24 years old. And I see prep coaches that are 24, 25 years old that have only done a couple of shows. It boggles my mind. It's this old crank.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're not even good posers.
No.
they're posing coaches, but they're not even good at it.
Yeah.
You know, another thing that bothers me is as you touched upon is, you know, years ago, the only opportunity you might have to meet a pro would be at an expo or a seminar, or if you were lucky enough after a show.
Yeah.
Where today they all feel so comfortable where they'll message you, "You suck, bro. You got a gut. You know, all this shit." And I'm like, dude, if I had one opportunity 25 years ago to meet Kevin Levrone, it wouldn't be to tell him he sucks. You know, it would be to, you know, say he inspired me, or good luck, or you look great, you know, whatever. I'm certainly not comparing myself to Kevin Levrone, but it's the point that if I met any pro back then that put in the effort, the hard work to get to where they're at, my first comment wouldn't be some shitty, you know. And these guys just feel way too comfortable.
Well,
You know,
there's
saying
the flip side to that is there's also, I'm sure you get this all the time. There are people that they feel like they know you, which is fine. You know, you do all these videos and interviews. So people get to feel like they're kind of your buddy. So they'll just like message you. They'll want to chat with you all day long and tell you all about themselves and ask a million questions. And they don't realize maybe this guy has like 100 other people doing the exact same thing. And if he sat there and answered every single message on Instagram and Facebook Messenger all day long, he would get nothing done. He wouldn't even be able to train or eat. He would just be doing that all day.
Yeah, take a look at my diet. You know, or I'm taking Sustanon, Tren, and what do you think of it? I'm like, dude, I had people come up to me in the gym and say that to me. They're like, is that all that muscle just from food? I'm like, come on, dude. What do you want?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm taking T400. I'm like, good for you. Well done. I don't know what to tell you. I can't sit here talking about shit in the middle of the gym. They just don't get it. There's a certain etiquette that people don't get. And sure, I'm willing to talk about it, but I can't do it all day long.
Right. Now, what do you think about the selfies? Now I'm guilty, so I can't. I'm being upfront,
Oh,
guys. I post a lot of selfies, so I can't.
I cringe whenever you post another one. I'm like,
you do see the same pictures every day from the same people, same exact mirror, same lighting, and a lot of times they'll make comments like getting bigger or looking leaner. I'm like, it's the same effing picture I saw yesterday and the day before. You look exactly the same, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It's a way to, you know, it really opened up a whole generation of, you know, I think what we already knew of insecure people but now they have an outlet to well,
it's attention.
Display it.
It's attention and validation. It's here's my picture, and then checking it. You know, check your phone every few. Oh, I got another like. Now I got 100 likes. Oh, I hope I get to 200 likes. How many followers do I got? Oh, I got 20.1. Oh, I hope I get to 20.2 by the end of the week. You know, it's like that's their scoreboard because they don't. Most of these people don't compete. They're really not even interested in competing. But they keep this running tally of how much approval they're getting for the pictures they post up, and that's their contest. That's their competition. And you know, I have to wonder how many of these people would even work out if they couldn't post pictures. Would you even still go to the gym? Would you bother if nobody knew about it? Or do you need that?
Better yet, do they work out? Like, are they actually working out, or are they doing daily photo shoots at the gym pretending to work out?
Yeah.
Because I see it all day long of people, they're not even sweating, they're not even putting in much effort, but they got that phone out and they're working the camera and the filters and the.
I mean, at your gym, do you see the tripods and the light? Not the lights, but at my gym, there's a few people actually they carry the tripods around with them and they film like every single set they do.
Oh yeah.
And I bitched about this with someone recently, the Instagram stories. So if you only have a couple stories, it's like 2 or 3 long bars at the top, right? But some of these people, if you click on the thing for their stories, it's like 1,000 little dots. They're so small you can't even see them, and every single one is like a different set. So if they did 40 sets in their workout, every single set is up there. Ooh.
Yeah. I do like one max set of each exercise, just to kind of, I like to share my workouts to see what I'm doing. But sometimes it doesn't even get that far. Yeah. Like I don't, show a set of leg extensions. You know, I'll do that on my YouTube, but on my story, that's not very exciting. So
No.
I usually just do compound movements or anything that looks somewhat impressive. But yeah, I don't get the whole entire workout thing. It's just kind of crazy. It's modern day. Whoever invented Instagram, genius, absolute genius.
I believe his name was John Instagram. No, I don't know. But,
No, he's an actual guy. But they're, you know, they played on the emotions of weak-minded people, and also gave smart people the ability to market themselves freely. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. All in all, it is amazing. It just brings out the turds of society that you see that are annoying as hell. You know, and I admittedly have to up my game, have to get better at utilizing the platforms available to me, because I haven't utilized it. I only have 140,000 followers, which is shit in pro bodybuilding terms.
Wow.
You know, everyone's got 500,000, 800,000, million, you know, and I never saw it as being something of importance to me.
Yeah.
I only have, I think, 700 posts on my Instagram.
Wow.
And you look, and that's from 2013.
Wow.
And you look at most people, they have 7,000.
Yeah. No, I remember back when you were with a couple different companies, you were kind of annoyed that they demanded that you post like every day, and you had to do like a product shot every day, and they wanted a lot of stuff. And I remember you sort of fighting back at that. I remember your response at the time, and maybe you feel differently now, maybe you don't, was, you know, if I do that all the time, it's just spam and people are going to go right past it. If I only post when I have something important to say, then it means something. And I think my followers are going to appreciate that more. But these companies, you know, one of the first things, even it's been this way for a while now, for a few years, before they sign you, look at an athlete to consider him for any type of endorsement or contract or whatever. What's his social like? How many followers does he have? What's his Instagram? Does he have a YouTube channel? How many subscribers on you? Because that's their marketing. That's free marketing for them. And I get that. If I'm a company owner, I get some Brazilian wellness girl, because there's a million Brazilian girls that have like 500 to 1 million followers. A million. I know because I follow them all. And you give this woman $1,000 a month and a couple bottles of protein powder, and she can blast out an email or a post every day. Look at all the advertising. But yeah, tell me how when these companies were first coming at you with those demands, what were you thinking?
I didn't fully understand it. And I was trying to explain to them that, one, I don't use all these products. I can't pretend as if I do. One company actually took over my Instagram for a year.
Oh my God.
Where I'd wake up and there'd be 3 advertisements posted on my page. But here's what I look at. When I post something and I, you know, put some thought into it, I put a caption, it's a good post, there's a lot of engagement. So when it's a bullshit advertisement, there's not really much engagement. You know, a real post of mine will get like 100 comments or 50 comments.
Right.
And with an advertisement, there's almost none. So that just tells you right there, like, although I only have a limited amount of followers, the majority of them are engaged. Like they see my stuff, they respond to it. And I think sometimes that is more important than having 1 million followers of people who don't give a shit.
Also, it's common practice that people buy followers too. They buy fake followers.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I mean, I get these instant messages like all day long on buy X amount for this much money. That, you know, so sometimes you have to wonder, especially when you see somebody who has 1 million followers and their posts get, I don't know, 1,000 likes or something. That's nothing to sneeze at. But if you have 1 million followers, you should be getting a lot more likes than like 1,000 or 1,500 per picture.
Well, it's even more so. There was a local bodybuilder that had more followers than me numerous times. And then every once in a while, Instagram does this sweep where they get rid of all the bots.
Yeah.
And then he'd have like 50,000 less than me.
Wow.
And then 6 months later, he'd have 10,000 more than me. Same thing, a sweep, he'd go back down to 50,000 followers. You know, you can tell too, there's another guy, that clown that I was partnering with, he had like 40,000 followers. I'm like,
what?
Who are you to have 40? And there'd be 2 comments on a picture. And I would tell him, dude, why would you do that? Like it looks stupid. It's so obvious. If you have 40,000 followers and only 100 people are watching your videos or your picture, and 1, 2, 3 comments, you know you're lying, you know?
I can't believe he had that many followers. Well, he bought them, but still, wow. If I had seen that, I would have been immediately like, what? That guy, he did like he did like a couple local master shows is all I remember.
Yeah, and he was terrible. He's just a clown. But he's not alone. There's a lot of people that do that.
I want to get your opinion on this, because this is my pet peeve. It's probably not as much your pet peeve, because you're still strong and everything, and I've lost a lot of strength in certain lifts. But I think social media has blurred the line and confused a lot of people between bodybuilding and powerlifting, because I see all day long these 1 rep maxes on squats, deadlifts, sometimes bench press, but it seems like a lot of people are able to squat heavy and deadlift versus the bench press. I think you still have to be a stud to bench press a lot of weight, but I think a lot of people have figured out they can deadlift a shit ton of weight and they can squat a good amount of weight, but they put that up and they get 1 million likes and people are like, beasts, bro, this and that. It's all praise. And, you know, it's great to be strong. But I just talked to this guy yesterday, 2 days ago, Julius Maddox, the world record bench press raw holder. He does 782 with a pause. He beat the record. Anyway, I said, so he's a big stock. He's 6'3", he's 440 pounds. Kind of look, you know, he's got a lot of body fat. I said, what if you were a power lifter and you had this awesome physique, but you were weak? You were like one of the worst power lifters around, but you had a great physique. Would your other power lifters be impressed? He's like, no, of course not. They don't give a shit. There are a couple power lifters with good builds, but it's just, it doesn't matter. But a lot of bodybuilders have bad physiques, let's be real. But they can lift a lot of weight. I don't know why they didn't just go into powerlifting. They enjoy bodybuilding, but you know, they get it confused that to be a good bodybuilder, to get praised as a bodybuilder, all you got to do is post up this great lift. You know, here's the thing. I see people deadlifting a ton of weight or barbell rowing a lot of weight, and then they post a back shot and there's like no thickness. There's nothing back there.
Right.
Or I see people that can squat all this weight, and clearly I'm a big snob when it comes to leg development. I expect a lot out of people. And I see someone squatting like 600 pounds for a rep or two, and I'm like, shouldn't you have freaking thighs like this? I'm not impressed. So yeah, do you see a lot of that? Do you see a lot of bodybuilders who use Instagram to just sort of promote their top lifts, even though their physiques aren't anything special?
Yeah. I mean, I'm one of them. I show my.
You won the Arnold Classic. You've been second in Olympia. You're not one of them.
But here's the difference: is my heavy lifts translate to muscle, and a lot of these people, as you said, do not, because they're not training properly. Like I've seen people deadlift 600 pounds and not use a single back muscle. You know, it's like all trap and legs. Like they're just designed to move weight that way. They're not actually squeezing and using their muscles, you know? And that's the difference between a power lifter and a bodybuilder. A power lifter is just trying to move the weight. A bodybuilder is using the weight to engage those muscles.
Yeah.
So, you know, there is a point at which there's diminishing return. Like I could, you know, especially at my strongest, you videoed me deadlifting 600 pounds. It wasn't.
I caused your injury, by the way. Sorry about that.
Yeah. It wasn't the greatest thing. I should have stayed at 500 and did 10 reps and felt every rep and did it the right way. You know, but you learn from doing dumb shit. Yeah. And
it was also, you know, the plates were hexagonal, everybody. They rolled over one right before you started the lift. Dude, this day I cringed thinking about that. Because your back was messed up for a couple of years.
Yeah, I didn't squat or deadlift for like a year and a half after that.
All because I made you drag your ass out to Gold's Gym in Stoughton for a little workout video.
Yeah, we have that on video. I've showed people that many times.
Wow.
Because you could see the look on my face. I felt it pop like popcorn going up my spine.
Yeah.
But that's part of the that's a valuable lesson that I can share with others is do not go for singles, doubles, if you're a bodybuilder, because there's no real benefit to doing that. And it's too dangerous because then you can't train the way you need to, because you're injured.
Right.
And your body's not going to respond growth wise from 1 or 2 reps the way you want it to.
Yeah. No, it's I think we should finish the conversation about social media by making saying something positive about it, because I do think there are a lot of good aspects to it. You can reach your fans can reach you, but I think the marketing aspect, because in the days of the magazines, it was just a very small group of guys who got that exposure. And
I liked it that way.
It was the elite. It was the best of the best. So in that regard, that was a good thing. But it also, there were a lot of people out there with pretty damn good physiques that you never heard about. They were never able to get any kind of income off the sport. Whereas now, if someone's got a pretty decent physique and they have knowledge to impart, they can become an online coach or whatever. They can come up with t-shirts, or there's so much more opportunity that just didn't exist before. Whereas in the old days, if the photographers didn't notice you out in LA, if the magazines didn't put you in their magazines, if you didn't win major contests, you didn't exist. You just did not, nobody knew who the hell you were. You could, so it's a good thing. It's not, there are bad things, but all in all, I'm glad we have social media.
No, it's awesome for people like, for example, I'm not throwing anyone, I'm not throwing shade at these people, but there's people like Lane Norton, Mark Lobliner, Greg Doucette. These people don't really have pro physiques, but they're very intelligent. They're very, very charismatic, and they have lots of valuable information that they can get out there due to social media. And they're all, as far as I know, great guys. They have this character that they play that can come off douchey if you don't know them. But any experience I've had meeting those individuals in person, they were phenomenal people to me, but very intelligent, and they wouldn't have this opportunity otherwise if you just went by their physique.
Right.
So that's a huge benefit of social media, is people like them that are hugely successful.
Yeah, we should say that Greg Doucette actually is an IFBB pro.
He is, but I mean, he's not going to knock your socks off with his physique,
No, probably not.
He's one of the strongest humans on earth.
Yeah,
he can deadlift 600 for like 25 reps. It's insane.
Wow. Sounds like your brother Tito, but
yeah.
It's funny with Mark, because it's true that a lot of these people have a different persona in their videos. Because I remember I had seen Mark Lobliner's videos. He started off every video like boom, and he's like screaming. He's like foaming at the mouth almost with those older videos.
Yeah.
I thought he was like some coked up madman. And I think you were there too. There was one of those, I think it was a Cape Cod nutrition store out on the Cape that had like they used to have those big like block parties.
Yeah.
He was the one in Plymouth, the original one. And he was at one of them. And the whole day went by and I kept passing him. Like, I didn't say hi to him. And he knew I knew we knew who each other were, but I was like, that's that douchebag from YouTube. And then when I finally got a chance to meet him and talk to him in Nashville at Brandon's first gym opening last year, he's a really cool guy, and he's nothing like that. It's just, he's still very intense and energetic. But that's a persona. And I'm sure Doucette, geez, I remember I had like a Greg Doucette video on, and my wife's in the other room and she's like, who the fuck, who's that? Gee, why is this guy screaming? Said, that's just his thing. That's how he does it.
Yeah. I call him the Gilbert Gottfried of bodybuilding.
Yeah, that's a good one. Good analogy.
Yeah.
He's got so much.
I thought the same way about Mark Lobliner, and then I met him a few times, and now I consider him a friend. He's a great guy. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he is very intense.
Absolutely.
And he's a crazy in the gym, strong, way stronger than you would ever think.
Right.
And he gets peeled, he just doesn't have, he doesn't look like Flex Wheeler or Flex Lewis.
Right. Or Jose Raymond.
Right. But he's a wealth of knowledge. He's incredibly successful. I wish I was a quarter as successful in business as he is,
Don't we all? Shit.
But that's one of the examples of how awesome social media can be for people.
All right. Well, that wraps up that. Let's end the episode with 2 viewer questions. You guys, you only asked 2 questions, so don't get mad that we didn't talk about more. Tony Ruggiero asked, do you have any tips for training pecs and delts around osteolysis of the distal clavicle, quote, weightlifter's shoulder? I don't even know what I assume that it's osteolysis. I don't know if that's like an arthritic type of condition. The distal clavicle would be
the AC joint, that lump on the top right here.
That little bump. Yeah.
I read that one, Tony, and I have a lot of experience with that. They call it weightlifter's shoulder. Basically, AC joint sprain, or I wouldn't call it tendonitis. It's more ligamentitis. Basically, it's from heavy barbell movements. That's why they call it weightlifter's shoulder, because I got it when I was like 25.
And then another week, and I still have 2 weeks. Like, so a month is an eternity. All you people on the board saying, oh, he ain't going to be ready.
And that's a good way to fix that problem. I started doing everything. Like when you barbell press, you're set in a fixed motion here. You're very limited as to how much you can adjust. With dumbbells, you can bring your elbows way in tight to your side and do your presses that way. And that's what I did. I brought my elbows way in, and I was doing all my pressing really tight to the side. My elbows really tight, and it took all the stress off here. Because when you're up here, your elbows here pressing, that's all in stress in that joint. So you bring the elbows down, whether you're incline pressing or you're straight barbell, dumbbell pressing, you can really adjust. Even shoulder pressing. I do my shoulder presses with my elbows way in close.
Yeah,
and that's the reason why. So that'll help. You can still do all the movements. Just stay away from barbells. Even doing rows, I would stay away from barbell rows and just do dumbbell rows, because it gives you a lot more freedom to move your elbows and your wrists and take that strain away from the AC joint.
Yeah.
And I know it works because after a year of doing everything that way, not only was I able to go back to barbell, but I was much stronger.
Yeah.
I was able to work my way up to doing the 160-pound dumbbells.
Seen it.
And then, prior to that, when I had never benched 405, I was able to bench 405.
Wow.
Just from doing dumbbell movements. So, that issue will probably never go away 100%, but you can get rid of that constant dull aching pain, and continue to train and continue to develop without that pain.
Yeah. Even on you've had recent videos on your channel. It's called the Boston Mass. You're not doing 405, but you do like 315 all day long on the bench. Like, I don't know, 30, 40, 100 reps, something ridiculous. So you're still able to bench pretty heavy with a barbell, considering all that.
Yeah. And if you notice, I have a very narrow grip. It's, and people have commented on it. Oh, why are you doing such a narrow grip? I'm like, well, I'm a fucking small person. First of all, I look stupid with my hands out here. Yeah. Plus, the further out you go, the more strain in the shoulder. When I'm in, I consider it moderate. My close grip is here.
Right.
So I'm here, and I do that because it allows me to tuck my elbows into my side and take that strain out of my shoulder. So I bench the way I bench today. I do all my pressing movements the way I do today for that exact reason, Tony, because of the AC joint. I don't want to call it a sprain.
I don't know what it would be.
Inflammation, pain, whatever.
Yeah, mine used to get dislocated all the time. I used to have to go to the chiropractor to pop it back in, and eventually we trained Janet how to do it because it was like every day it had to go back in. Does it annoy you when you've been training so long, you've had to figure out ways to adjust, especially when you've had injuries? The way you do a movement might not look like perfect form to people watching the video, and they're knocking it saying, oh, that's not a correct squat. You didn't do one good rep. And then, meanwhile, your legs are like this and they're typing away and their legs are probably like, I don't know.
Yeah. I've learned to just let it go in one ear, one out and out the other, because, technically if you're looking at it, I was training someone last week and I was doing rope tricep extensions. Yeah. And my arm is so short, it's bigger than it is long. And so, yeah, it looks like I'm only doing a quarter rep, the way I'm doing it. He's like, wait a minute, so I should only go halfway? I'm like, no, I'm going a full range, but like my forearm hits my bicep, and it just looks a lot shorter than I'm doing. But I want you to do this motion in this way. But I'm like, no, it just looks worse than it is. Yeah. And I don't care what people say anymore. It's like, I have to do what feels right for me, what has worked over the last 30 years for me. Right. And, have minimized injuries or incidences in the gym, and allow me to stimulate the muscle to the fullest extent. Like when I bench, it looks like I'm doing quarter reps but I don't care. That's, I'm stimulating the muscle. I don't have the range of motion where I can actually come down and touch my chest on an incline press. Yeah. I don't have that, and it doesn't feel good. So I basically come 2 inches from my chest, right, and then, 3 or 4 inches from lockout. So it is that mid motion that I'm doing. And guess what? It works for me. My chest gets sore. If I'm doing triceps, it's the same thing. And I feel it. I'm moving weight. I get a good pump. People, yes, you want to do things as technically, with perfect form as possible. But at some point, you also have to adapt to your physique, to your body, to your injuries, to what feels right for you. Right. And, screw what everyone else says. And I have a lot of experience of understanding my body. So if I thought that, changing the way I bench would have made me beat Flex Lewis, then I would have tried it. Trust me. Yeah. And I did try everything in the book, and it never worked out. So I got to work for what works for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And to you, let me talk directly to all these young people with their critiques. If you do this long enough, guys, you are eventually going to get injured. You're going to have things like arthritis. You will have to adapt your training, and the way you train is not going to look perfect to somebody watching you, but what feels right and wrong inside your own shoulders or lower back or knees or whatever. You got to do what's right for you. And, you guys aren't there yet. If you keep doing this, you will all get there one day. Trust me. Yeah. Sorry to give you guys the bad news. Last question. What's your favorite Chris Aceto story, Jose? You must have a good one. Chris is, for those who don't know, and I assume everyone knows, but he's one of the greatest prep coaches in history. He's been Jose's coach for a long time. He was Jay Cutler's coach, Sean Roden's coach. We could go on and on. He's just very, very well known and respected. What is your favorite Chris Aceto story?
1 year I was at the Olympia, and I was solo. I was single for that one time. And Chris had made an impromptu stop by my room, and I was peeled out of my mind, and I was very dehydrated, and we were ready to go. It was the night before the show, and I went to go visit a friend, and I didn't tell him that I wasn't going to be there. And he fucking called security. The police came, everything. They bust down my door. Oh, he thought I was in there fucking having a heart attack or something.
Jeez.
And then I finally saw that he was calling me. I called him. He's like, "Where the fuck are you? What are you doing?" Yeah. He's like, "I just had security in your room." Wow. I'm like, "Oh man, I was visiting a friend, He's like, "You gotta tell me." I'm like, "Oh, all right." It was it was a lot funnier, when I think back.
Yeah.
That was just one of a million stories with Chris. I have you know, so many, but that in particular was funny because that was when we like really first started working together, and he, you know, he was really worried. He didn't quite know my, you know, how I handle things or how I adapt to what we're doing. So he was really checking up on me.
Yeah, that's a great coach, really.
Yeah. When he couldn't reach me, and then I told him what I was doing, he's like, "Oh, you're an asshole." He's like, "I hope it was good."
Yeah, you should have just dropped a little. There was a text messaging back then? There must have been. But
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but you didn't know he was going to come looking for you, so okay.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was out having fun,
okay.
and
yeah, buddy. So that'll do a wrap for episode 3. I want you guys to check out Jose's channel. It is called The Boston Mass. He's got training stuff on there. He's got a podcast he does with Nate Tello. God, am I ever going to get this right?
Tello.
Tello.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Tello, like the old clothing store. Tello's.
Yeah, Tello's. Yeah.
Tello. So check that out. They do great work. They've had guests on, and it's great conversations. And the Instagram, it's The Boston Mass. Got to throw the extra E on, like Megan the Stallion. The Boston Mass. Who took the Boston Mass? Who had the idea?
I don't know, some asshole.
Jerk.
I think it exists now. I had to recover it and pay for it and like start my own one.
Okay. Oh
But
yeah,
it didn't exist when I first opened my Instagram.
And the website is back up live, correct?
Yes.
So thebostonmass.com.
Yeah.
Good merch on there. I didn't wear one of the shirts today, but man, there's some cool stuff. If you travel in, especially the New England region, you'll see a lot of people wearing those shirts.
Like this
hoodies.
one.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
This is the bearded lady.
I thought that was like King Kong or something.
No, that's the bearded lady with a muffin, holding a muffin.
That's what 2 things he was known for, being the bearded lady. That was just one like casual remark you made. Was it at the press conference?
Yeah. Bob asked me, well, he's like, you know, you've been pretty vocal about not having the prettiest physique on earth, but yet you've beaten all these guys. And I made the analogy of, I'm like, hey, people don't go to the zoo to see, you know, normal animals or the circus. I said they go to the circus to see the bearded lady. Yeah. And I'm the bearded lady. And the place erupted laughing, like, because it was a good analogy.
Yeah. I'm glad you actually kept the beard. The beard suits you. Not everybody looks good with the beard, but you rock it well.
It shows my age. That's what it does.
Yeah, I keep I keep seeing some grays, but every time I get anywhere near that, I'm like, this is itchy, and I shave it off.
It is.
We'll never know.
So let's get some feedback from Tony. Tony, try your next couple of workouts and give us feedback on how you're feeling, how the shoulder feels. You know, make sure you do all the other things. Ice it, take some ibuprofen, or you know, do all the things it takes to make it better. But most importantly, change the way you're training and give us some feedback. Let us know if it feels any better.
Cool. If you guys have questions for Jose, please leave them in the comments below. If you have anything you think would make a really good topic, throw it down there. I'll consider it. Jose will consider it. We'll think about it, because we want to keep these things fresh and interesting, of course. Jose, thank you so much for taking the time once again for the show. No way, Jose. We got to start doing the no way of the week. We'll start thinking of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a slow time in bodybuilding right now, but we'll get there pretty soon.
All right, I have one. Guy texted me the other day.
Who?
Guy Sisternino.
Guy Sisternino, okay.
If I come back, he's going to whoop my ass.
Okay.
And that is a big no way.
No way, Jose. I should know this, but has Guy beaten you before?
Once. Yep. And that was very debatable. All you guys go back and look on MD. They got the pictures. The 2013 Phoenix Europa. 2013 Phoenix Europa.
Did he win?
No, I was 4th or 5th. David Henry won. And if you compare the photos, it was because the judge was comparing me to my best. He told me that. He said, "Oh, you got to come in at 100%." I'm like, "Why does it matter?" Yeah. He's like, "You were way better at the Olympia." I'm like, "Of course I was. That was 8 weeks ago." I'm like, you know, I'm still better than.
It's all coming back to me now.
In front of me.
We won't say the name because this guy is still very, very active.
Yes. He's doing a good job.
I do remember that distinctly, and I was like, wow. because I remember I expected you to win because I saw the lineup going into the show, and then when I saw you got fourth or fifth, I was like, what? What did he like? Did he slip on a banana peel on the way to the stage? What the hell happened?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
At that point, that was my worst placing since my first year competing.
1993.
No. My first year as a pro. Yeah.
2009. Wow.
I think I might have been higher than fifth, like sixth or seventh. It was a complete punch in the nuts, is what it was.
I remember you were not a happy camper. I saw you shortly after that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had no business being seventh place, wherever I was.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, but that's okay. You live and you learn.
Yeah, past, it's in the past. It doesn't matter. Hakuna Matata. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. No Way Jose, starring Jose Raymond, the Boston Mass. We'll see you next time.